Welcome to our webinar, CARS 2310, Thriving at Texas Tech. We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Morgan Chavez Brannon with Parent and Family Relations, and our guests today are Dr. Jacqueline Cravens Pickens, Associate Professor for Couple, Marriage, and Family Therapy, and Dr. Ileana Anaya, Professor of Practice in the Community, Family, and Addiction Sciences. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. And we hope that this webinar will help you learn some of the great resources available to help your Red Raider thrive while they are here at Texas Tech. We plan to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we will open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. In the meantime, you can use that Q&A feature to type in your questions throughout the presentation. We do have some folks working behind the scenes to help answer those questions for you. A very popular question that we get: yes, we are recording this session, and we will be posting it and the slides to our website later today so that you'll be able to review this again later and share it with others. We'll also email the recording link to the email that you used to register. So, without further ado, let's begin. Jacqueline, what exactly is Tech Thrive?
Yes, thank you so much. And thanks for everyone for being here today and letting us have this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Tech Thrive and then quickly move into our CARS 2310 class. So I know this tends to be most people's least favorite topic when I move into things around accreditation, but I do think it's really important to share with everyone, how did we get here? What exactly is Tech Thrive? So Texas Tech University is accredited by SACCIOC, that is our institutional accrediting body. And last year in 2025, we went up for reaffirmation of accreditation. Part of what SACCIOC requires its institutions to do is twofold. Number one, a pretty detailed, in-depth, very long self-study. But the fun part for all of us is really the quality enhancement plan. This is Texas Tech's third quality enhancement plan, and what a QEP exactly is this is us using our institutional data to support student learning and/or student success. Each institution is free to decide what they would like to focus on, but it really has to be grounded in data and benefiting our students. And what may be of no surprise to anybody here on this call today is that in alignment with national trends, the data that we have on student mental health and well-being was really concerning for us at Texas Tech. And so Tech Thrive, our third QEP, is focused on supporting student well-being, mental health literacy. And so what is really important for everyone to hear is Texas Tech cares so deeply about student well-being that we've tied the reaffirmation of our accreditation to student well-being, which I think says a lot about priorities here on campus. To be able to focus on improving student well-being across campus, we really wanted our work to be informed by the 8 dimensions of wellness. What this model is it is a holistic view of well-being. And we really recognize that although mental health is important, all right, we wanted this to be a project that benefited all of our Texas Tech students across the institution. And so when we think about things like a student moving to Texas Tech, being paired with a roommate, maybe they're having issues with their roommate and this is creating a social stressor. Well, then that social stressor, right, starts to cause emotional well-being hits. And so we may have a student that's now dealing with anxiety, chronic stress, and now we have social, emotional well-being both taking a hit, which research would indicate that when these things happen, especially to college students, we can see a negative impact on their educational well-being or how they are doing in the classroom. So for Tech Thrive, everything that we came up with in our proposal, the specific projects and initiatives that we're engaging in, we wanted it to be grounded in this 8 dimensions of wellness. Really quickly, I want to highlight some of the data that we used building into the proposal of Tech Thrive. Now, these are national trends. This is not something unique to Texas Tech, but it is representative of the data that we looked at about how our Texas Tech Red Raiders have been doing. So if we look over the last decade, we recognize that student mental health problems on college campuses has increased by nearly 50%. All right, we see data that indicates 33% of students are suffering from either major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety. Surveys also indicate that rates of anxiety, depression, sleep concerns, stress issues are all significantly negatively impacting our students' academic performance. And these concerns are associated with lower grade point averages and early dropout from college. And some reports in the last 5 years have found that 73% of students report moderate or severe psychological distress. So this is really painting a picture about why Tech Thrive is so important now. All right, another bullet point you'll see here is that despite living in the digital age where our students are more connected than ever with technology and social media, we're unfortunately seeing a negative relationship between these two things, right? Despite being ever connected, we have decreasing, right, levels of connection. And so our college students are reporting that one of their primary concerns that they're dealing with is loneliness. And then our last bullet point you'll see here, increasing moderate to high levels of overall stress. And when we think about this level of stress that students are experiencing, they really report this as being chronic, ongoing, debilitating stressors that are negatively affecting their experiences inside and outside of the classroom. And this has a negative impact on things like GPA, overall academic standing, and unfortunately is connected to college dropout. So this data really tells us a lot about what's going on with college students across the nation. And one of the things that we really wanted to look at with Tech Thrive is that here at Texas Tech, we have so many resources to support student well-being. Thinking back to those 8 dimensions of wellness, we have resources across all of those dimensions that really can benefit and support students. And student tuitions and fees help cover these resources. We really hope that students are accessing them. However, and unfortunately, when we've looked at data, our surveys have really indicated that a very low number of Texas Tech students report knowing how to get help on campus for issues related to things like food insecurity, emergency financial situations, and mental health concerns. And with this specific survey, we look at both freshmen and seniors, and you would hope that over the course of a 4-year period, by the time our Texas Tech Red Raiders are seniors, you'd hope they have a better sense of what resources exist on campus and that they are utilizing them. And unfortunately, the data really indicates that that's not been the case. So again, here comes Tech Thrive. All right, our aim has really been around how do we help students recognize resources that are on campus, break down barriers to accessing those resources, and having an overall greater awareness of how they are doing with their own well-being so that they recognize, I'm struggling socially. How do I reach out to specific support services on campus to help improve that? Now, I realize that board games may not be as popular as they once were, or Red Raider college students may have no idea what chutes and ladders are. But this diagram is meant to kind of capture a first-year experience of students. All right, there's all sorts of ups, excitement, right? We're moving into campus, we're meeting new friends, we're getting started with our classes, we're going to football games for a top 10 program in the nation, right? Lots of excitements, lots of ups, but we also recognize that there are stressors and down moments that our students can have. And so when we think about Tech Thrive, our hope is that we are able to create these ladders, right? These bridges to help connect students to things that will allow them to thrive and be successful when they come to Texas Tech. And one of our really important initiatives that is a part of Tech Thrive is our CARS 2310 class. And so I'm going to kick things over to Dr. Anaya so she can tell you a little bit more about our course that we've developed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ileana Anaya, and I am the instructor for CARS 2310. I had the privilege of building the PowerPoints and doing all the lecture videos, so my face is kind of the face of CARS 2310. I have all my degrees from Texas Tech, and I wholeheartedly mean this when I say if a class such as this class existed when I was a freshman many moons ago, I think I would have excelled a lot faster at this university than I did on my own. There is this assumption your child goes, lives in the dorm, they have a roommate, and that's not always the case. As in my case, I didn't have a roommate. I had to do everything by myself. And as an introvert, believe it or not, that was really hard for me. So something like this would have been exceptional, but better late than never. So my elevator pitch for this course is that this course promotes the exploration of knowledge. Um, Attitudes and behaviors associated with the multidimensional aspects of wellness. And so, when we're talking about wellness, Dr. Pickens really highlighted this. Wellness is not just one individual thing, we look at these things as a whole. And so, students will be exposed to important topics in mental health and well being that are relevant to their collegiate experience that will hopefully, in turn, make their collegiate experience a more positive one before graduation and then a lasting impact post graduation. And if we could move to the next slide. Thank you so much. Okay, so my class is very much I meet your student or I meet your child where they're at. There is zero expectation of any sort of back knowledge in this class. So what we do is we assess their current level of well-being across each dimension. They'll take a quick little survey at the beginning of class. I look at it and I see, okay, this cohort of students really needs to focus on this, and we adapt accordingly. Uh, and it shows them what areas of their life they can pay more attention to. This also increases the mental health literacy and utilizes the knowledge that they develop over the course of this class so that way they are better at coping with life stressors, school stressors, decision making. So we do a lot of things in class that are applicable to their life post graduation. Another thing that I do for them is we identify on-campus resources that are available to them that support many of different things, whether it's mental health, whether it's their physical well-being, all of these things. And when I say we identify them, yes, I let them know what we have on campus, but I'm all about the do. We go do it. So we take class time and go experience these things. They'll have that in their tool belt. And if they want to use those resources again, they are more than welcome to do so, on their own time or however they see fit. And what we also do is we develop, a well-being perspective that enhances their personal and professional experiences at Texas Tech University. So some of these things that we do in class are talk about financial literacy, making the best choices for you, interpersonal skills. We also talk about, childhood and family influences and how that impacts the way they present themselves at Texas Tech. So, as a marriage and family therapist, again, it would be foolish of me to put all of these things in one little box and work that way. So, I am just so excited that we get to look at all of these different things and how they shape these students as they go throughout their time at the university. And so, what we'll see is that we have many sections to offer throughout the course of the summer and then into the fall. So we have two summer sections. You'll see the CRN here online. And if you go on RaterLink, you'll see how it best fits into your student schedule. And if summer courses are not the rate that we're going at right now, then we do have a handful for fall. What we're doing this summer is our online sections, our sections are online because a lot of incoming students stay home their first year. They stay, they're not on campus, and we want to make it accessible to them to be able to get the tools they need to succeed at their full potential at Texas Tech. And then let's see where we move on. Okay, Mindful Matador. I'll take it back to Dr. Pickens.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Anaya. I also want to make sure that we highlight this with the class before I talk about Mindful Matador. Students do not have to take this class during their freshman year. This is open to freshmen all the way to seniors getting ready to graduate. We do hope, though, that we catch students at the start of their Texas Tech journey because we want to be breaking down barriers to reaching out for help appropriately while students are here. All right, so the earlier we get students into the CARS 2310, the more successful we believe students are going to be with engaging with on-campus resources and know how to advocate for their own well-being. But if we miss students in their first year, they are welcome to catch us as sophomore, juniors, or seniors. Okay, so what is Mindful Matador? This is another one of our Tech Thrive initiatives. This is really something that we have created to help really acknowledge and celebrate students that have engaged with Tech Thrive events over the duration of their time at Texas Tech. So becoming a Mindful Matador, once they've completed the requirements, students will get a graduation cord, and they're able to wear that at graduation ceremony to acknowledge that they've engaged with these well-being resources during their time at college. But one of the great things about taking our CARS 2310 course is that it will completely fulfill all requirements to becoming a Mindful Matador. So you take a 16-week or 8-week online CARS 2310 class, and you will be a Mindful Matador automatically. The other way that students can become Mindful Matadors, if they just can't fit CARS 2310 into their busy degree plan, then they are able to engage with well-being events throughout the time that they're at Texas Tech and work towards completion of the Mindful Matadors. So the students will be asked to engage with 16 well-being events during their time working towards their degree. And these will be things where we want them to touch at least 6 of the 8 dimensions of well-being. So if they meet with a red to black financial counselor on campus to have a budget made, right, that's going to check a box for a financial well-being event. Each month we have Wellbeing Wednesday events, another part of our Tech Thrive initiatives. These are posted on our website, and so students have easy access to be able to identify what specific events they want to target. And we're able to keep track of those. And once students have fulfilled it, then when it comes time for graduation, they are able to reach out to us and let us know they're ready to pick up their graduation cord. So we'll go ahead to the next slide. And you may be wondering, okay, this gives students something to work towards, but what's the big deal with Mindful Matador? And for us, this is really something that beyond a graduation cord, we recognize future employers really want to see that students, graduates, those entering the workforce have really worked on themselves, that they have good emotional intelligence, they have a high amount of self-awareness, they are able to take care of their own needs, to be good citizens of their employers. And so with Mindful Matador, this is something that your students can list on their resume, their curriculum vitae, and say that they were a Mindful Matador during their time at Texas Tech. And during an interview, if a future employer was to say, well, can you tell me a little bit more about what a Mindful Matador is? Students can share during the interview, I took time in addition to my degree and becoming competent, proficient in my field of study. I also took care of myself as an individual and worked on my own professionalism, my own development to ensure that when I enter the workforce, I'm entering the workforce at the strongest place that I can be at. All right. And I think that that's really important here around what addressing wellness really looks like for our students. It's not just allowing them to be successful and matriculate through their degree program to graduation. It's saying when you send your student to Texas Tech, we care more about them than just the student in the classroom. We care about the whole human being and want to see them succeed, not only during their time at Texas Tech, but beyond graduation. All right, so Mindful Matador is really a way of acknowledging that, yes, fun graduation cord, but something that's helping them after they leave Texas Tech's campus. So I think with that, we did a great job staying within that 20-minute time frame, and I think we are ready to open the floor for any questions that participants have today.
Well, thank you both again so much for sharing so much great information. We do have that Tech Thrive contact information up, and we will send the links to websites and all of that as well after this. But yes, for right now, if you have additional questions, Please use that Q&A feature. I did want to ask one that I had written down. Oh, we should ask this question, and somebody else asked it as well. I know families are curious. How many credits is this course worth?
3 credits. 3 credits.
Yeah.
Uh,
3 credits. And
yes.
how often does it meet per week?
So our last semester this spring, we met Tuesday, Thursday from 12:30 to 1:50. So
Okay.
we get a good chunk of time. The students fill that time out with a lot of discussion, so it's a great time. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So matches and aligns very well with standard college courses. And then another question, because I know sometimes this comes up with courses, especially like this, about how many students are in those classes.
So my online class, this last go around, we were still recruiting, so numbers are not going to reflect moving forward. But online, I had about 40 students, and they all did exceptional work. My in-person class, I had 5, so they really hit the ground running. And I had one freshman, the rest were upperclassmen, and the upperclassmen got just as much out of the course as the freshmen did. I'm also looking at the Q&A here in the chat. The question I want to also highlight is the difference between um, cars and CFAS. We just switched the name. We transitioned from CFAS to cars. Same thing. Is there any other questions? I'm trying to look and keep up with everything.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, y'all. Yes, let me see. Um,
And I'll just hop in and say this with the CARS CFAS. So for those that are CARS majors, which counseling, addiction, recovery sciences is our undergrad degree and the department that both Dr. Anaya and myself teach within. However, this class is available across campus despite degree, so it is open to all students. We understand that there are challenges. There are some majors that just don't really have a lot of wiggle room for electives. We are hoping but cannot make any promises right now that this will be on the core curriculum as a behavioral sciences credit. That is currently frozen. We are not able these last 2 years to submit new courses to the core, but we are hopeful that that will change in the near future, which may also open things up for students like engineering that really doesn't have a lot of wiggle room in their 4 years. But I just want to be clear with everybody that's joined us today that you don't have to be a CARS major or minor to take this class with us.
mhm.
Thank you for that.
Somebody asked a great question of how the online goes to do things. So I want to be abundantly clear that I understand that online students are not always located in Lubbock, Texas. And because I am fully aware of that, the things that we go do, especially if they're on-campus resources. So for example, one of the on-campus things that I have my students go do is go to the Career Center. The Career Center has an online option where you can schedule a time and you meet either via Zoom or whatever, video portal they have. So they're not missing anything. I took the time for the online class and I was recording all the videos to say, okay, if this isn't going to apply well through video as it would in person, I'm going to tweak it a little bit, but they're not missing anything from taking it online to in person. I want to make that abundantly clear. And then Dr. Cravens, does this satisfy any requirements in the degree plan? I want you to maybe highlight on that a little more, was the question.
Um, I think it will all depend on what degree students
Mhm.
have. For CARS majors, the counseling, addiction, recovery sciences major, this does count and is about to count. It's getting added to the degree plan that would fulfill for CARS. But I think that there are ways that this may fit within an elective for students' degrees, but when we think about the number of different undergrad degree programs that exist across campus, it's hard to answer with certainty about how this might fit within a degree plan for different students across campus. So I would say this is a great question for your student's academic advisor of, I'm interested in this class. Where might this be able to fit to count towards degree hours? It is not yet on the core. We don't have a definitive date about that, so I can't make promises. That is a hope. Um, And then even if it doesn't fit within degree requirements, I think that our hope is because the data that we have really indicates that student well-being has been in such a place these last 10 years that we really see a lot of students transition to college, not know how to get connected to appropriate resources, struggle to meet peers. A great part about this class is that students will be outside of their degree track of meeting students all across campus from many different degree programs, different locations. We're helping them get connected to be successful, not struggle with GPA, not struggle with dropout, not struggle with that loneliness that we know our students are really struggling with. So I think the range of this answer, to be more concise, would be if they are a CARS major, absolutely counts towards degree. If they are anything else, an academic advisor is going to be able to help your student figure out how they plug this in a meaningful way, whether that's personal success and benefit at Texas Tech or an elective option with their degree.
Um, I have one more question that I think would be good for you to answer live. I know there's still a few, and we'll kind of respond to those in the background a little bit. Um, but a good question that came up, what does the coursework look like for this course? Like, is it writing? Is it mostly discussion based? Like, what does the day-to-day
Yeah.
look like?
Absolutely. So I'm not a fan of busy work, and this course has no busy work. I think at this academic level, if we're doing busy work, we can do other things such as actually go apply what we're learning in the classroom instead of doing the busy work. So what we do, they have, let me pull up my syllabus real quick. We have journals, what they'll do, they're reflective journals. I think they have four throughout the whole semester, a page each. It's a reflection on the topic that we're talking about up to, I guess, the due date of that journal. So that could be things like, I just took my intro assessment to see what my mental health literacy is. Here's what I'm shocked about. Here's what I'm not shocked about. Here are the things that I'm going to do to make, the changes necessary to get them where I want to be. The only major thing that we do that may be a little not scary, but new to an undergrad, especially maybe a freshman, is we have a major paper at the end of the semester. Again, very much geared towards what they have going on throughout the entirety of the semester. It is here's what I've learned, here's how I've changed things once again, and here's the outcome that I've had from taking the class. So no busy work for the most part because that means I have to grade it. I don't want to grade that. I want them to actually get something out of their coursework. The other assignments that we do, I have them go 2 times throughout the semester to some sort of wellness event at the university. And this is like pick and choose what you want to do. I'm pretty lenient on what that is. That could be, I'm going to go to the wellness center and look at the, zero gravity massage chair. Great. You got out of your dorm. You got some sunshine on the way there. I'll take it. So again, not much busy work, but things that are to have your student look inward and see what we can do better at. If they need any help, I see that in their paper and we just kind of go from there. Hope that answers your question. If there's any follow-ups to that, please put it in the chat and I'll try my best to answer it.
Dr. And I'll also add a bonus that I think our students really appreciate. There's no required textbook for the class, so we're
No.
saving financially. Everything is very discussion based. We want to get students out there connected to resources on campus and figure out a great plan of how do I continue to utilize these things as I move through my degree program towards graduation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I see another question here. Is the class graded like any other class? So there's an accumulation of points throughout the semester, and that will determine the letter grade that they get at the end of the semester. So yes, numerical and letter.
And I can speak to this last question about does this course help alleviate attrition or not? I don't have the exact data on attrition numbers off the top of my head, so I won't speak to that. But what I can say is all of the initiatives that have been developed for Tech Thrive are research based. We were really intentional that the things we wanted to integrate here on campus were things that had scientific backing And classes on well-being, although they are not utilized across a ton of universities, those that do really find significant improvement around student success, getting integrated on campus, retaining them, right? Retention, and having better grade point averages. So we just launched the class this last year and don't yet have our data yet. We will this fall about year one. So maybe we can come back at another time and give updates on success of projects, but we do anticipate this to have a positive impact for our students.
So I
Fantastic.
will put a caveat out there of my in-person students, if this means anything to parents out there. All of my students applied for upper level, except my freshman upper level graduate courses, and every single one of them got into their desired university, their desired program. And they said that the application process was not as hard on them mentally after taking this class, because if y'all know anything about applying to graduate school and to other professional degrees, it's a lot. So they had the tools to do that and then be successful. So hopefully that is some incentive for y'all as well.
Well, thank you both again, Dr. Pickens and Dr. Anaya. Some really great questions were asked, and I hope everything has been answered for everyone. If not, again, here's the email for both Parent and Family Relations and Tech Thrive. If you have any follow-up questions after today and you want to learn more, please be sure to check those things out. And then just a heads up, we've got more webinars coming for you this summer. So if your student is coming to Red Raider orientation, up next we've got tuition, financial aid, and scholarships, health and well-being here at Texas Tech. So we'll get a little bit more of a lens on what we've been talking about today. And we'll hear for that one, we will hear from Student Counseling Center and Student Health Services. So that'll be a great opportunity to kind of complement today's information. And then later in June, we've got campus safety at Texas Tech. Please take a few minutes to take our survey as well. We love to hear from y'all. And we cannot wait to welcome more Red Raiders to campus and see them thrive here. So we hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. You will be receiving this recording link later this afternoon in your email. Thank you again for joining us.